Hey, I'm Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and this is the Blockcast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
It's my favorite. Literally, every episode it changes. Go watch it, people. It's always a good time. Hello and
Do a
welcome.
supercut of clicks.
People just like, what? Like it, everybody. Um, Hello and welcome back to the 84 subscribers that we have now. If one of you subscribes, we'll have 85.
Which
Pretty
is one
good.
more than 84.
Correct, which is always a better thing. Today we bring you the ultimate LEGO Leaderboard.
Board.
And if you've never seen one of these episodes before, is that we have 15 categories. Josh and I each get 300 points, split up amongst those 15 categories. We choose a set, doesn't matter what kind, so if you want us to review one, let us know in the comments down below. You could review along with us and create your own categories and points and tell us how you rank it. But today we are covering a set called the Shire, Lord of the Rings.
No, it says Lord of the Rings, the Shire.
What Josh said.
Nomenclature matters, people. Nomenclature matters.
This set retails for $269.99. You've heard us talk about it before in our
Yes.
April update, if I remember correctly. It's 2017 pieces, 1,755 insider points, set number 10,035 Wow, that was a lot.
I didn't like how you said that.
No, I didn't like it either.
10354.
And 9 minifigures. To give you a justification of where we are with our ultimate LEGO leaderboard.
Board.
The Tudor corner in our latest ultimate LEGO leaderboard
has been a true runaway.
You're supposed to go board.
I was waiting for you to. I did the last one.
So in our last episode, Tudor Corner won our hearts, and it received the most amount of points, either from Josh or myself, overtaking Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So we'll see how. Sorry, Josh, you're gonna have to get a new board that's instead of Lego with an S. See, I didn't say
this
it.
One.
That one. You're gonna have to get one with proper nomenclature.
Tom has gone at least 6 episodes without adding a new stud to this sign.
See how he has it ready, everybody? I digress. We're here to talk about Lord of the Rings, the Shire, everyone, and where it ranks on the ultimate LEGO leaderboard. But we're not here to waste your time or talk for a full hour like we learned in our first episode. So we predetermined some of the categories because they don't necessarily need to be dove in deep into. The very first category that we're going to talk about, the Shire, is the design. Josh, you gave it a 17.
I did give it a 17. When we reviewed this set for April, we were kind of hot and cold on it a little bit in terms of design and things like that. Having now built the set, I am more favorable toward it. There is some really cool techniques and design elements and giving Bilbo's house its shape from the outside. However, there are still opportunities in some of the other components of the set. But overall, I think the design is very solid. It is very clear what it is. It looks good. It's bright. It's a solid set.
I agree with you. I think it fits the theme, and we're not there yet. But in terms of the design elements, I gave it a 15. I have recently gone to Hobbiton in New Zealand. Yep, I actually went to the real place that they filmed this on a sheep farm. Google it. It's really interesting, that whole story of how that whole set developed. I digress. I think they did it justice, but as I mentioned, we talked about in Tudor Corner, go back and watch this episode, is that I think sets that are connected to intellectual properties by other companies lack a little bit due to price per piece. In Tudor Corner, it was about 7.5 cents per piece. This one, I think it's closer to 13 cents per piece?
13.5. It almost, well, I don't want to say it. Yeah, it almost doubles the price per piece for the Tudor Corner.
So, with what you get out of that is you get less pieces, but there's less detail involved. So for me, there was less floral and fauna included in this, more bigger and bulkier parts. It does the area justice in terms of the Shire, but I felt like it lacked a little bit in terms of design itself. It's nothing against the designers. It's limitations that they have put in place.
Yes.
So that's why I went ahead and I gave it a 15. There's always time that you can always add more to it as an individual builder. So there's nothing preventing, my ideas or your ideas and how you want to see it. The next category that we're going to talk about, I don't know why I'm pausing there, is the build experience. Josh, you just mentioned that you built it.
I did. I enjoyed the build experience for this more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be very repetitive. However, the way that they get the shapes and the curves and the sides of again the Hobbit Hill was actually fun to build. If you think of like building a Zen garden, that's how I felt building this. It was relaxing, which was not entirely what I was expecting. That is, up until I built the tree where Bilbo is standing under his side. Did not enjoy that build so much. That whole structure, we'll talk about. But overall, if we're talking about the bulk of the set, which is his home, it was a very nice, a very calm, a very charming build. I enjoyed the details that revealed themselves. I enjoyed the techniques. I've mentioned before, I like to pair my builds with something to watch, and obviously there is a built-in feature that can be viewed whilst building this. So director commentary on Lord of the Rings was the perfect pairing. I'm a sommelier of Lego pairing techniques.
What movies go very well with the Lego? Josh would know.
And I did go with Fellowship of the Ring, not The Hobbit.
You mean The Hobbit is not as in demand as the original trilogy?
Not saying that. I'm just saying that this particular scene is from the Fellowship of the Rings.
I know. I'm just pushing your buttons. Speaking of pushing buttons, what do you give the build experience?
Oh, right, I didn't say that. Build experience was a 14.
14. Okay. I feel like we've talked a lot about buildings. Square buildings like Tudor Commons, we had Twilight Cullen House, but this is one of more of the buildings that is more freeform, which I like. It also gives me the question of, did the hobbits build the hill or did they build the home in the hill? Which more than likely the second half would probably make more sense, but you never know with Mythic. It has its components of a solid build where you have your core of a structure on the inside and then you have your more freeform on the outside. So I do like that the build is not repetitive, as Josh says. You have like smaller builds over on the sides that split up the idea of the build, so it's not so much. And that's weird to say, especially with Lego, as it being more of a calmer hobby in terms of building. But it does break it up in terms of like what you are building, and it gives it a little bit more detail and a little bit more fun. For me, it's the idea that the interior is not as detailed as you would want it to be, so it's not as fun to build as much as the exterior, so that takes away from what it could be. So I'm going to give it a 10.
So that's fair.
Yeah. I think it's a 50-50 on this, where they got excited on the outside, and then they got to the inside and were like, shoot, we got like 6 inches of space. What do we put in there? Rather than building it from inside out. They thought of the hill and then they thought of the interior, even though they have, the director's commentary.
So that answers your question, right? The hobbits built their home in the hill. The hill existed and the Lego designers just built the elements around it.
True, but is Bilbo older than the tree?
These are the questions.
Playability. Does it have playability for you, Josh?
It does. There are some interesting elements throughout that are fun. Bilbo has his book at his desk that he can open and close. When he is standing in front, that scene there, initially you see the letter that Gandalf tosses in the fire, you turn the knob and then the ring is revealed. So that is a really great play feature. Now, granted, the interior of the house, there's not a lot of room to move the characters around, so you do feel like Gandalf trying to navigate through Bilbo's home. But there are some interactive elements in there, and that you can kind of pose the characters differently and tell those components of the story. When he is standing in front of the tree that I didn't enjoy building, that there's a feature that can turn it. So like when he puts on the ring and disappears, it looks like he disappears in the set as well. And then Merry and Pippin, you can see it in the back of the firework that's gone off. They come with multiple hair pieces, so you can change their appearance as that firework goes off to kind of continue to tell that story. So I do think that there is a very good amount of playability here. It comes with a horse. Snow White didn't have a horse, so Tom, I'm sure, is going to enjoy that aspect of the playability. So I'm going to go. I'm going to say that the playability for this one is a 16.
Yeah, I literally was thinking the same thing.
About the horse or the score?
Both. Please go watch the Snow White review of the Ultimate LEGO Leaderboard. They should have put a horse in that. And for some
Tom really
reason,
wants a horse.
that I don't know why, I just kept going on the horse. When I edited that one, I was like, wow, I really wanted a horse for Snow White, for Prince Charming. For playability, I'm all about playability over displayability. Now that I'm older, I appreciate it more. But at the end of the day, no matter who you are, at the end of the day, you want to have swoopability, so you have your playability as well. The downside of this, again, I think the weakest part of this set is the interior, and you could say, but it's so detailed. But that's because of the individual bricks themselves that they're printed on. At the end of the day, it's just a square. If you remember Bilbo's house. And again, I was literally just in the Shire, and they recreated the entirety of the movie set. I feel like within the architecture of the interior, yes, I'm going deep again. I don't think there's enough detailing within the interior, and we'll get to that in a little bit later on in terms of playability that makes it stand out from any other interior that's in a hill, you know. Also, why is his hat on the ground? There's a clear place to put your hat over here, Gandalf, on the left-hand side. So for me, I feel like there's a lot of room for playability on the exterior of this set. In terms of playing with all the other Lord of the Rings sets, this is perfect in terms of like wanting to set up a scene and having that playability of the adventure. So I think that works in its favor as well, because remember, if you take this and the figures outside of this set, this is huge in terms of what you have in terms of the storytelling. You could have the birthday party, you have the fireworks scene, you have him having those dramatic moments within his home where everybody's coming to eat, and he's just pissed off, right? Or is that the Hobbit? No, that's the Hobbit. I apologize.
Yeah, he doesn't want the dwarfs in his home.
But you can make all of that, and that's what the playability is, and you can recreate it while you're watching the film. For me, it's the downsides that I wish there was a little bit more, I don't know, like more stuff for them to play with and do. Like you have the horse, but I want more. But then
You
again,
want two horses?
No, not
There wasn't
two
two.
horses.
Do you want the car that you can see driving by in the background of the film?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Which car? Wait, when?
It's in one of the Hobbiton scenes, but in a long shot, you can see the dust kicked up from a car.
Go watch it,
Google
everybody.
it.
You heard it from Josh. But yeah, so I share the same opinion. 16 from me. Josh, what's our next category?
Next category is value for money.
Money, money, money.
Yeah. So we talked about it already. It comes out to about 13.5 cents per piece. That's a lot, even for an IP. I don't even think Snow White, and uh, as Scrooge McDuck obsessed with money as Disney is, I feel like the price per brick for Snow White was less even than this. This here we feel like Smaug, coveting the gold and trying to rein in everything. It's a high price point, and it's a lot of floral elements, yes, tree elements. Just the blades of grass alone, I think there was over 20 of those pieces, which have, some use for mocks and that sort of thing. There are a good deal of minifigs. However, we have seen Merry, Pippin, Bilbo, Gandalf, Frodo, and Sam So six of the nine in other Lord of the Rings sets, specifically Rivendell, but also in Barad-dûr, at least for Frodo and Sam. So it's not that they're exclusive minifigs. So it's kind of a trade-off in terms of that value. So I'm going to rank this pretty low. Obviously, for Lord of the Rings fans, it's a must, but for again just the value out of the box, I'm giving it a 4.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I give it a 5, just for the pure fact that, and it's not to be like whatever, but it makes sense, and you got to look at it from all perspectives and not just the consumer perspective from the business side as well. They realize that just like with Star Wars, the reason Star Wars sets do well is because they want to add to the additional sets that other people have. The play set was big, especially with 90s kids, right? And now that we're adults and we have adult money, we like to collect and we like to have them all. Pokemon, right? Um, with this, it's the idea that I would say that if this set came out first, before all the other Lord of the Rings sets, it would be lower price per piece, lower entry, lower barrier to entry in terms of like the buying from the consumer, and I think it would be a lesser point. The reason I think they can charge more is they know they can get more because other people now have the other sets and they'll feel incomplete
Yeah.
without this one because this is such a significant scene in the films, and the connection that people have to the Lord of the Rings films is what gives it the value that people will pay for this set. And I think
Yeah.
people will pay this and know what it costs to have.
I have it. But just in comparison, exactly to Tom's point, Barad-dûr came out to about 8 cents per piece. So that was
Yeah.
the last big Lord of the Rings set, and that is a big difference between that and this, and only with a year in between the two.
No. So from the consumer perspective, it's expensive. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's detailed and it has what you're looking for in terms of the scene, but also on the Lego end. And I can't remember the owner of Lord of the Rings. It's not just Warner Brothers; they own the film rights, but in and of themselves, they know they can get the value because they know they have the fan base. When I went to
Yeah.
Hobbiton, the gift shop was not normal gift shop pricing. They knew that that you came all the way to Hobbiton because you have a passion for Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings. I think it's a lot of fun, but I don't have the same amount of enthusiasm as those that truly cherish and love this film. And I give them all the credit in the world. I have my passions as well. But I think that's what they're playing off of, and that's why the value isn't as there because it's more so for the collector rather than the people, the
Yep.
casual Lego buyer.
And I believe that kind of feeds into our next category.
Nostalgia. Josh, how much do you love Lord of the Rings?
I love Lord of the Rings as much as the next guy. I didn't grow up with it. I am a relatively late convert. It wasn't until after I think Return of the King released that I even saw any of the films. And it was after that point that I read the book. So I wasn't like I was a fan from day one. But once I was introduced to the universe, I did fall in love with it. I did enjoy it. I love the beauty of the scenery from New Zealand, and particularly in Hobbiton, the Shire. Those are my favorite scenes in the movies because there's color and light and bright and prettiness, which is lacking from most of the rest of the films. So Barad-dûr, while that one was a completely different build, this one was the one I've been waiting for. Um, it's just more fun. It's light. It fits, I think, better with the theme of Lego. You think of Lego, you think of bright and colorful. My personal attachment to it is just mid-range. Um, this one's higher, I think, than Barad-dûr, but again, I'm late to Lord of the Rings. It's a 10.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm relatively close with that. I like Lord of the Rings. I've seen all the extended cuts. I've seen the director's editions. I've looked at all the other Lego sets. I understand the passion. I think that they were well done. The storytelling is absolutely amazing. The expandability is infinite. For me, I don't have like everyone enjoys their specific story and what they enjoy, right? For me, I'm not as connected, but I do have a passion for it now that I've been to Hobbiton and I clearly see like it is not a movie set. Like they literally built the real place. Like if you have the option to go, go, please go. I'm gonna give it a little bit higher than Josh just because I've been to the Shire itself, so I'm gonna give it a 14 because I think they captured the location really well. I'm actually gonna try to post my trip in terms of my sig fig actually visiting the site. We never knew this set was coming out, so he's super excited that he can go into his size rather than going into my size Shire. I'm gonna give it a 14. Josh, we talked about my sig fig. We're into miniatures. We're in
So let's
minifigs.
talk about minifigs.
Yeah, why not? We got how many of
So
them in 9 in this set?
yeah, it was 9, right? 9, I
Yeah,
think.
9.
Um, and I already mentioned that it's a great collection of minifigs. However, we have seen them before. Not necessarily in the same outfits, but if you are just collecting on a character basis, we have Bilbo, we have Gandalf, we have Frodo, we have Sam, we have Merry, and we have Pippin. So that's 6 out of the 9 that these characters have appeared in other sets. That's a big number. Now, granted, again, these are new prints. Their outfits are different, save for Gandalf. I don't think his is different, and I think Bilbo might be the same as well. But the hair pieces are all things that we've seen before. There's nothing new in terms of that. Some of the accessories, again, not really that new, other than a firework. But it did what it needed to do for this set, right? It gave you a lot of hobbits to fill out the Shire. So for that, it was successful. In terms of variety and how they look, I do like Merry and Pippin's extra hairpiece. I'm going to go 11.
I'm right there with you. In terms of minifigs, it's nothing really something unique or different. We've seen a majority of these characters before. As you mentioned, they fill out the Shire brilliantly. I do like the accessories that they did give a lot of these characters. Granted, they're very plain, but they fit them on who they are. I did not notice the fireworks scene in terms of understanding what it was. I thought that was just their hair. I was like, what was happening? Now, I like that they gave them the details so you can display it as you want, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to share in that, but I'm going to give it a 10 because I don't think there's really something that pushes it over that's completely different or unique in this case. Our next innovation, meaning that we're looking at building techniques and design elements. For me,
It looks
it's
like
a
for both of us.
it's a lot of big plates. It's a lot of there's no really like innovation when it comes to building technique. I think it's very simplistic.
Yep, I agree. And particularly when it comes to the tree behind Bilbo's sign, that is just a studs not on top brick, basically, that the branches are attached to. It doesn't have the flowy nature of the tree that's on top of his house, um, and it feels almost incomplete or out of place.
I agree.
Um, and also with the all of the branches facing upward, it fills out the space nicely, but it still doesn't look right, even as a pine tree, which is ultimately what they're going for here. So
You mean
yeah,
they could have done a pine tree kind of like in
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron? How did you know,
I
Josh?
just had a hunch that it would come around. I'm surprised we haven't talked about the Cullen house that much.
Oh, that's right. When you can do the spider monkey out the window down the pine tree. But for
Oh,
some
right.
reason, in this set, they chose to go with a completely different variety of. And I've actually seen this tree, and it's not made of Lego.
It'd be impressive if it was.
But I don't know why they went with this. It actually looks like it looks evil. It
Yeah,
doesn't look
there's
like
a
Happy
menacing
Shire.
quality to this tree.
And we're supposed to celebrate his birthday. Yeah, I digress. I completely agree with you. I just had to get that Age of Ultron in there. Easily every set, but yeah, it's the idea that there's nothing really different. Durability, I gave it a 6. Josh gave it a 7. let's count the number of things that can fall over or break. The tree, the other tree, this sign thing, this could fall off the table. The horse with the wagon, don't get me started. And then any lamppost attached to this set, minus the
The
core, pretty good.
the the tent is very light, and very prone to if a strong whoosh goes by, that you will see your tent fly. Um, and the fact that it's cloth is scary because if it falls and you know
Gets wet.
crimps in the wrong place, then that ruins the element and the aesthetic of it. Whereas you know, if the tree falls, you just rebuild it, right? But
Can
with the cloth fabric pieces, uh, more can happen to that, and that's scary to me.
we talk about dust? Dusting this?
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
no. That falls into this category, everybody. Dust is a part of displayability, and well, it's also a part of durability. It's a mixed bag. We talked about displayability. That's next. Displayability. I gave it a 14. Josh,
I give
16.
it 16.
Yeah, it looks exactly how it's supposed to, and the only thing that made me lose its value is there's not enough fauna to make me happy, and the interior detailing on the architecture is lacking. So displayability, I feel like when it sits on my shelf, I know it's going to be, but I feel like it could have so much more.
Yeah. For me, it's the footprint. Compared to the other two sets, it's small. Compared to Barad-dûr and compared to Rivendell, which again, yes, they're hobbits, they are smaller, but at the same time, I feel like it because it's lower down, it's flat, it just doesn't have as much of a presence as the other sets do. Because of its bright color, it draws you in, the bright green, but it doesn't have that, that shelf oomph. I
Presence,
don't know.
yeah, I agree. It is nice to look at though, but remember, you could always enhance it on your own. Theme representation. Does it remind you of the
Yes,
Shire?
it is so very clearly part of Lord of the Rings. There is no doubt about that at all. It fits the theme, it fits the characters, it fits the fun of the scene in the movie. So it a good representation of the theme.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, you could always add a little bit more detail here and there. I think they did a really good job in terms of expressing it as best as they could based on price per piece. We did get a fair amount of minifigures in this case. Um, and so with that, I gave it a 14. Excuse me, I gave it a 15 and Josh gave it a 17. I feel like you could have added a little bit more in terms of like the events of maybe see the firework like exploding up in the air, other details within the Shire in terms of scenes, like you could have like a little smoke effect coming out of the. I mean, those are details that you could put in or you withheld, but it's the idea that you could always add on to it, and I think
Mhm.
that's why it is why I did rank it in that fashion. I think there could have. It's the idea that overall, with every category as we go, I think they could have just added a little bit more detail here and
Yep,
there, and it could have been better.
for sure.
Our next category is going to be part selection. Josh, you gave it an 8.
I did. So again, we talked about the elements, and we'll talk about those in the exclusive. For mock builders, there's a lot of green. There's a lot of green slopey pieces that you don't find in a lot of other sets. So not so much the part selection for this model itself, but the pieces that come with it. There is a good variety that Mox will like. I'm glad you pointed out that fence. That's what I was going to talk about. It was my favorite element of this set. The fence is made out of boomerangs, which one is a good representation to the part of the world that this was filmed in. Of course, they're more Australian than New Zealand, but still, I don't know the boomerang presence in New Zealand, but I do love the fences made out of them. And if you need multiple boomerangs for any product or project that you're working on, you can get a bunch of them here. So I think from a mock perspective, there's got a lot of good pieces that you'll get with this one, but nothing that was truly like
that stood out.
groundbreaking.
Yeah,
So
I,
8.
I'm right there with you. I give it a 5, just for the pure fact that there was nothing really like uniquely added. The usage was interesting, and I did like the idea that you had a lot of slopes and they used a lot of slopes without hard angles, minus the interior. But there was really nothing in terms of also color that like you have your green. But besides that, I did like the brickwork around the windows. I did like those pieces, and those are not stickers, correct, Josh? Or are they
They are
stickers?
not.
And I love that. I think that's really fun. I think that's also a unique element, and the hair element as well. But in terms of anything else, I didn't see it in this set. But the usage is fun, and they used a lot. They used it well. Um, so I went ahead and I gave it a 5. Instruction quality. Yeah, we're talking about the instruction. And if you wanted to know, there's 3 instruction books with this set.
Points off. I am not a fan of multiple instruction booklets for sets, especially when they seem unnecessary. However, what is there is nice. There is some great detail about the making of the film, and then about from the design team and the choices that they made. We've talked in other episodes about the blurbs throughout the instruction manuals, and the kind of detail that it gives. Those are present. However, for the most part, they are quotes from the movie, which serves a purpose. It highlights what it is you're building for some of the finer details. It kind of gives you a timestamp, or not necessarily a timestamp, but like an indication of when in the film the scene or the story takes place. Um, it is cute that Frodo is going on a journey throughout the instructions at the bottom as your kind of like little uh, point keeper. But there was one particular blurb that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I don't know the exact location, but it says something along the "We hope you're enjoying your building journey so far," with a little smiley face, and it caught me off guard. I thought it was adorable. It didn't really necessarily fit to the theme or anything like that, but it was cute, and to Lego designers, yes, I was enjoying my building journey that far.
And what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Uh, I'm right to like I like it, and I'm gonna bring up the endurance again, which I think had the best instruction booklet as to the date, in which it made you feel incorporated and fun. I like the beginning of the Lord of the Rings booklet. It incorporated the how it came to be, the significance of the characters, the design team in terms of how they laid it out and how it was designed, the significance of those the two truly enjoy it. For me, it's the idea that I think they could have done even more um, than this and made it a little bit better themed. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7. We have expansion potential, and I'm gonna keep this brief. I gave it an 18. Josh gave it a 15. It's Lord of the Rings. At
Yep.
the end of the
There's always
day,
going to be expansion. Middle Earth is huge.
if they choose to do like make these sets like poorly designed and less people buy them, there's less of a chance. You're gonna see more Lord of the Rings. There's no doubt in my mind that you're gonna see Lord of the Rings. The expansion potential is there. It's infinite. There's tons of movies. You could go off the books. I digress. 18, 15. That's where we're at.
Yep.
Exclusive elements, Josh, 17.
Yep, they're there. You've got the fabric pieces that are brand new and kind of exciting. Not really going to use those in any other sets or mocks, but they're still cool that they are included. There's carpet pieces that are printed brick, and the rock work around the windows, like Tom said, is printed as well. There are sticker elements in the details inside the house, so that is a little bit frustrating for those of you that don't like stickers, but still there. And then the new prints for the characters for the minifigs outfits. Um, Again, these are mostly new for most of the characters, so there is a fair amount of exclusive elements included with this set.
I completely agree, but a little bit less so. I wish that there was more. I don't think there's enough. I do like the printed. My big thing is there's a lot of people that will want this tent in their mocks. You can do a lot with this. There's a lot that you can do with the exclusive clothing and the signage as well. I do like the bricked elements. I just wish there was more. I went ahead and I gave it a 13. Josh, it's time for the wow
Wow
factor.
factor.
Wow.
I wish there was more of a wow factor with this one. Overall, it didn't quite meet my expectations. Some things from when we first reviewed it for our highlight for April, um, it did improve upon some of the factors, but overall, I do feel that especially for the value, for how high the cost is per brick, there needed to be more wow. I really don't like the extra scenes that kind of just are floating out in the air. Yes, it fills out the space on a shelf, but unless your shelf is leafy green, it doesn't work for me. So and again, in comparison to the other Lord of the Rings sets, I feel like it is a little bit of a letdown. I am going to go ahead and say the wow factor is only a 6.
Wow. I'm going to give it a 10. Just for the pure fact that I know what it is. It looks good, but it could always be improved upon. So with that, I've given it 163 points. I don't know where I went. 163 points. Josh has given it 172 points. And while I get those numbers together, Josh, tell them what they can do.
Well, what you can do is tell us what you think of this set. Go in the comments below, take a screenshot of this, make your own numbers, and decide how your opinion stacks up against that of ours. Did you build it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think there was a wow? Who were your favorite characters? Let us know in the comments. Let us know other sets that you would like to see us review, because we would love to fill out our ultimate LEGO leaderboard scoreboard. And to do that, we need to know what sets you want to see, because we want to make this interesting for you. So do us a favor and like, subscribe. We already said to comment, and continue to follow us. If you haven't already watched the past episodes and see how we came up with the scores that we did, go ahead and do that as well. And ultimately, just enjoy.
The Shire beat Twilight Cullen House. Just saying, everybody.
Uh-oh. We're not going to let the wife watch this one.
With that, my name's Tom.
And I'm Josh.
And you have been enjoying the Blockcast.
We're LEGO fans. Click.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.